The neighbor and the stranger. I can't help but think about the question that the lawyer asked Jesus that prompted the story of the Good Samaritan that David just read. And this was the question as they were going through a discourse with one another. The lawyer says, Jesus, who then is my neighbor? And to the lawyer, what the question really was is, who does the law require for me to love in order that I might follow it and be made righteous? Jesus, what do I got to do to follow the law and get into heaven? But Jesus reminds the lawyer that following the law is not a means to make you righteous. And so Christ shines light on some of the prejudices that the lawyer has been carrying about a group of people that he believes is outside of the circle of God's chosen people. Last week in Bible study, we talked about how Jesus had a way of using parables to challenge the hearer's worldview in a way that sometimes wouldn't get through if he would just plainly speak to him. So he told them a story that would prick their hearts. Those who have ears to hear, let them hear. And so the lawyer didn't get the answer to the question that he wanted because he was asking the wrong type of question. Who is my neighbor? Who is God calling me to love today? When I think about neighbor, I think about people who live close to me, right? The people that I see when I go out to check my mail or when I'm mowing my lawn or I'm chasing my dog down the street trying to catch up to him. My neighbor is someone who's like me because, well, let's face it, they live in the same corner of the world that I do. And so, for example, my neighbor is more than likely an American, a Texan, and a Cowboys fan. 2 out of 3 is not too bad, right? But a stranger, that's somebody different. A stranger is somebody we don't know. And because we don't know the stranger, our mind starts to fill in all the blanks as a sort of coping mechanism. Like, I don't know what that stranger is about. They might look differently than we do. They might act differently than we do. They might believe differently than we do, all attributing to the idea, to the concept that they are not one of us. They are the stranger. But as time goes on, that conventional wisdom of who's my neighbor, who's my stranger starts to fall apart. Because we realize when we're looking around at our neighbors that they too are a stranger to us. We go to HOA meetings, school board meetings, and we realize that the people in our neighborhood, the people that live right next to us, may not have the same views and values that we do. We gaze into the political abyss divide in this country and we realize that to be an American can mean a lot of different things. That Americans have a vast array of ideas about how this country should be run, how this world should be moved forward, have different values than my own. Who then is my neighbor? My neighbor is the one who voted for the same candidate as me. My stranger is the one who voted for the other person. Guys, I've been on social media this week, and it's amazing to see the variance of opinion about the presidential election. All reminding me of how different people can see the same event. Perhaps more so than is healthy, we define who is neighbor and who is stranger on political lines. It might be then that people who hold our values might live on the other side of the world than we do, rather than the person who lives right next to you. The world is becoming a much smaller place. With technology and globalization, we have the Tower of Babel in our hands and in our pockets. And so we're going to have to change our understanding, our conventional wisdom when it comes to who is my neighbor, based solely on proximity. It's going to have to be based on something deeper than that.